Welcome to Linda's TV show. If it is your first time of stopping by or coming across my YouTube channel, you are highly welcome. Please, I beg you for this favor, click on that red button that says subscribe. Beside the red button is a notification bell. Turn the bell on so that anytime I upload a new video, you will be the first person to check it out. I appreciate each and every one of you who always come back to watch my videos. Like you know, I present news on daily basis to you. So after watching the video, you are free to criticize and leave your comment constructively. Share the video. Yeah, you can share it to your family, friends, anybody that you can, so that they themselves will be informed. Now I present to you another interesting or informative video which we are going to watch together. Yeah, I'm going to watch this video together with you. Then we'll come to the comment section.
And what we try to do is to reflect, you know, especially when we have leaders of your caliber on the show. So when you look at where Nigeria has been coming from and where Nigeria is today, would you say that the country is on course to the great Nigeria that many of us believe in?
Well, that's a very weighty question, but it's an appropriate inquiry. Let's start from the foundational political work that was done by the founding fathers of our country. When they started out forming the first political parties to talk about political contributions and grooming leadership in Nigeria, the NCNC, the Action Group, and the NPC. And down south, most people don't talk about it. Most people may not even know. We had the Niger Delta Congress.
Yes, of course.
Formed and led by Harold Dapabri, on which platform Chief Melford Okilo got elected to the Parliament before independence.
So and then it became government.
And then you look at even the Second Republic. I mean, the Unity Party of Nigeria, the NPN, and then the PRP, the GNPP, the NPP. That was quite an interesting time. I mean, we were growing up, and for the First Republic, we read about it, and you know, and then of course we all know it collapsed 1966 in the coup. In Benin, 1983, as a young one in secondary school when I was leaving secondary, I had to trek for almost 2 hours to listen to Chief Awolowo speak.
From where to where?
Yeah, I trekked from Lagos Road to a very prominent square, Oropota Hall. It's still there.
In Benin?
In Benin City, to hear him speak. So I think they had a very clear idea of the Nigeria they were fighting for. They had their differences, no doubt, and we shouldn't be afraid of our differences. Absolutely. I mean, as Sadana rightly put it, let's recognize our differences, you know, and then see how we can forge consensus
out of it.
Based on that. Great approach. So they did quite well. But if you ask me, is Nigeria of today meeting up with the aspirations of the Nigeria of Nnamdi Azikiwe, the great Zik of Africa? Is Nigeria meeting up with the aspirations and ideals that Chief Awolowo spent all his life fighting for? Or what Aminu Kano, against all odds in the north, stood up to fight for the interests of the common people? Or the Nigeria of Balewa and Sir Ahmadu Bello and all of that? Or even the Nigeria of Harold Dapabri? You know, the current Nigerian situation, does it measure up to the ideals and aspirations? I will say no. Flatly no.
I like the fact that you are quite blunt as to what has happened when you compare the current set of political leaders and those of pre-independence, early post-independent years. So my question is, what do we have to do? And I've asked quite a number of our eminent guests too. What do we have to do to bring the political elite to the realization that that it is in their interest to sort out Nigeria, essentially to take care of the common man, to deal with the problems of the day. You know, because just like you said, it seems many of them don't even have a proper understanding. So my question, you know, and you're a member of the National Assembly, you're a member of the PDP, which is actually in opposition in the Assembly today. What has to happen for our political elite to get the message that it is in their own interest to sort this country out, Excellency?
First of all, that's a very important issue. And the Nigerian political class, Nigerian political elites, unknown to themselves, are all collectively committing acts of mass suicide. Mass collective suicide and national destruction. The reason is that political service has been bastardized. It's not seen as service. It's seen as a very fast means to an end. An end that is that doesn't serve the national agenda, an end that is about self. It's not about shared values. It's not about values. And there's not enough realization, in my view, of the fact that, you know, political leadership and service should be about ideals. Ideals that are bigger than oneself. Ideals that are far more fundamental than even one's political party. Ideals that are about improving the human condition.
There is now a move, even in the National Assembly, to amend the Constitution. As a matter of fact, we know that in the House of Representatives, there is a bill to restore parliamentary government. So I wanted to ask you two questions around that. Number one, do you think that a parliamentary system will serve Nigeria better? I think so, and you know, I'm coming to it now. That's the first one. And then, do you think that it is useful for us to have a new constitution? You know, that the people, you know, the nationalities of Nigeria can say, this is what we want.
First of all, I am a believer in the Westminster parliamentary system. I believe that a nation that is as plural as we are, as diverse as we are, I mean, culturally, religiously, socially, in all diversity in all its forms.
Yes.
I mean, the system of government that best suits our purpose should have been the Westminster parliamentary system. And with all due respect to our military leaders at the time,
Right.
I mean, we are free to disagree with them.
Yes.
But we don't give them enough accolades.
Okay.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's another question.
That's another
Take, for example,
question, yes.
General Gowon, who's also a father to me,
Yes.
became saddled with the task of fighting
A civil war.
a civil war to unite this country at a very trying moment. How old was he? 32.
Yeah.
What were the degrees he had?
Yeah.
Sandals training, Sandals military training, and other career trainings along the way, and did a good job. So for all of them. So I think they tried their best. But I disagree with that decisive move they made to change from the parliamentary that we started with, that we're already getting used to. It wasn't perfect, yes? No, it wasn't perfect. And it wasn't meant to have been perfect.
True.
But they now took us to the presidential system. Away from India, away from Canada, away from a number of the other countries.
Even the UK.
Even the UK, of course, the UK. Especially India.
Yeah.
The same size,
diversity,
and so on. When you have a diverse nation, you preserve their diversities and you create a national ideal that protects everybody,
right,
that everybody is comfortable with. An ideal and a national value that all can subscribe to and aspire to, that all can own up and defend and protect, which was why the first national anthem, the one some of us started singing, that was singing in the primary schools.
Yes.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own their native land, though tribes and tongues may differ. One brotherhood.
Yeah.
What's that? That was the national ideal. Okay? Now we went to the presidential. And in a presidential system, what are you saying? You are saying, Laulu, that in a nation of 200 and something million people, in a nation of maybe about 80 something, 100 and something registered voters, you are saying that all of us should come and queue and select one person. You haven't invested much in education of the people. You haven't done a lot of work in the economic sense as to lift the living standards of majority of our people. We haven't done enough urbanization. Most of our people are living in rural communities, and so on and so forth. Yes, we've made some strides. And you now assume that all of these people will be nationalistic enough, will understand the national aspiration enough to realize that a man from Lagos represents their interests. To realize that a man from Adamawa, a man from Sokoto, a man from Bayelsa. So in 2015, you saw it.
Yeah.
People, yes, all they needed to do was not to interrogate the quality of policies. The only campaign was religion.
Yeah.
It's not one of us. No. I don't think they may have meant well. And I must say, in the last 10 years, since 2015, in the APC-led government, I mean, I'm not here talking about political differences, but facts are facts. Facts are facts. In 2015,
right,
this country went steps, decades backwards. All the gains that had been made in the area of national integration as a way of addressing the crisis of national identity, which must form the basis for a new nation.
Right.
Which is why Yugoslavia couldn't last. Yes. Which was why so many nations, the USSR, had to disintegrate. Human beings don't just live on bread and butter and water. Human beings also, the human body also consumes respect.
Yeah, and a sense of
common belonging. Sense of belonging. So, if you want the best from your armed forces, for example, people who are wearing the same colors, to go and fight and die as they are dying, even as we speak, or the police where I served, or in every facet of human life, you must let them have the feeling that they can be as best as they can and get to as high as their capacities and their abilities go. And they should be proud to wear the Nigerian colors. I think the governments before managed it far better than the APC. From Buhari's government, and even in this, you have not asked me about that, but I must say it. National integration appears to be, to have suffered retreat. Yes, suffered retreat.
Yeah.
What we have now is hegemonies.
Yeah. Well, Excellency, so let's quickly just sort that out in a very open fashion so that you can respond appropriately. Now, during Dr. Goodluck Jonathan's regime, there were those who said that there was a lot of southeast, south-south, and this, I just want to respond generally, that there were a lot of southeast, south-south solidarity that excluded the southwest. And of course, during Buhari's time, there were those who said that, oh, it's a lot of north. And now, during Tinubu's currently there, people are saying that, hey, is this now going to be the time for Southwest? Now, I raised those three scenarios to say that over the years, we have had to deal with this issue that you've talked about, the place of ethnicity in our politics, And I think this is what you are also trying to say. My question, and what I want you to address next is that, how do we get out of that, I hope, not a conundrum, that, if I'm there, then I must put, the people that I must put in trusted, sensitive positions must be my own ethnic stock. What is the formula?
You see, leadership must show example. No matter how powerful those centrifugal forces are, the force of leadership. And President Obasanjo demonstrated a lot of that.
I agree with that.
Demonstrated a lot of that. And I take you back. Most people don't give enough credit to, maybe because we don't study history enough. You know that it was Sir Balewa, our first prime minister, gentleman, who appointed General Ironsi
as the head of the army.
Yes, as head of the army. Over and above General Maimalari, a Sanders-trained officer, and one of the best at the time. Over other officers, Ademulegun and the others, who were even supported by the party system and even by the expatriates, General Welby and others, who were making their recommendations. And it was to show an example. He did the right thing. Unfortunately, that government and that era ended in a very terrible way. Very terrible, not good for our country at all. But subsequently, I pointed out General Obasanjo. Yes. And even, people, you talked about Jonathan's, the Southwest. Some of us know the little efforts we tried to make. I think there was an unintended, it wasn't intentional. There was an unintended, it wasn't exclusion. It wasn't an exclusion. But the Southwest, in a way, felt they didn't get enough. For example, we tried to make my friend, Muraino, Honorable Muraino,
the Speaker
from Oyo, the Speaker, to address some of those things. Now, there was a change of mind. And I was
in the house.
One of the people, not just in the house. I was actually coordinating a number of these activities. Or one of the coordinators, at least. From Muraino, a decision was taken to give to Mulikar Akonde, another of our colleagues.
Also from
Also from this. So there was an effort made. And when there was rebellion, again, fueled by a lot of people. Okay? From within and without. I'm talking of the Southwest.
Yes.
So we ended up with a situation, an unintended situation, where someone other than a Southwesterner emerged as Speaker. Now, things could have been done differently, no doubt. Were there errors of judgment, political judgments? Would there have been greater push and maybe things rejigged a little bit more to actualize that? Yes, because I saw the gaps. But that was it. But the Southwest were very supportive.
Ultimately.
2011.
Yeah.
And we have not, people like us who know a little bit, we have not ceased to thank and appreciate them for the first time that someone from a so-called minority, South,
yeah,
and specifically from Bayelsa,
right,
and my boss, my leader.
You were Attorney General when he was governor.
Yes, got elected. The Southwest were behind us, and we appreciate that. So I know that there could have been greater interaction politically,
right,
which some of us have been the pillar pushing for closer interaction.
Right.
Niger Delta, Southwest, from AD to the job movements and all the Freddy Fashion, all of them. There's no. I studied under all of them. Bola Ige, the late Bola Ige, the late Pa Adesonya. Now Pa Adebanjo is still alive.
Yes.
Yes.
Falaye was here last week.
Yeah, Oba Falaye is still alive. So they are all my father. We learned under them. And the idea was that collaboration. And I was chairman of AD and became national legal advisor of AD.
Yeah.
You know? But then I left because we had a disagreement. I had a disagreement with the leaders of our party, particularly when Uncle Bola, our leader, now became Attorney General.
Right.
And not only that, the federal government under him instituted a lawsuit, the onshore-offshore dichotomy. Some of us felt...
Yeah, you couldn't...
Yes, some of us felt that was not keeping faith with the ideals upon which we came to do AD, but which I delivered under my chairmanship.
Yeah, a number of...
Senator, my current seat was Senator Diffa.
And you delivered it in
House of Reps, 1999. 1999, this is my current seat, was AD, my party. The House of Reps seat that I later came to win twice was AD. And 3 assembly seats.
In the state.
In the state. I had an alliance, working with the NSM, led by our father, the late Senator Melford Okilo.
Okay.
Because I was trying to form a coalition back home to bring them to join the AD.
Interesting.
Yeah, because I was enamored by the philosophy of the AD. True federalism.
Yeah.
Derivation. At that time, there was no 13% derivation.
True.
You know?
Yes. Yes.
And constitutional conference.
Yes.
Sovereign national conference, we used to call it at the time.
Yes.
So all those were the things that pulled me out of Ijaw Niger Delta activism to mainstream politics. And from movement for democracy and justice under the late MD Yusuf. Oh, yes.
Yes.
Great man.
Interesting.
MD Yusuf, he was our leader.
You have a lot of
oh, yes, I will.
Progressive
I'm beginning to pen my memoirs.
So let's take it to the issue of the role, just like you said, of the AD leaders, the progressives, of which you were the national legal advisor then, and the role of people like then Governor Bola Tinubu of Lagos in trying to advocate for true federalism, and then what the party stood for.
Yes.
Do you think today, you are in the Senate, he is in the presidency, do you think that himself and the National Assembly should do everything possible to sort out a true Nigerian constitution for the nation today?
Well, yes, the Bola Tinubu we knew at that time, a number of things appear to have changed.
Okay.
But I believe that the essence of his progressive commitment is intact. And just a few days ago, I chaired the technical committee of both chambers that worked to fine-tune the student loan law that is having some challenges.
Right.
So I'm seeing commitment to welfareism, which is all that we stand for.
Yeah.
Welfareism.
Yeah.
And I think Nigerians will appreciate what he has done when the student loan eventually comes on board. But fundamentally, in the area of true federalism and constitutional reform, the president doesn't have a direct role. But The president can
an executive bill.
The president can use what Americans call the bully pulpit to use the influence and authority to galvanize office. But I think there's already a consensus emerging in the country. When some of us went around talking about resource control everywhere, we were met with a lot of hostility, even at all the fora, governors' forum, when we were discussing it and all of that. But over time, the dynamics, a lot of the underbelly of the constitutional inadequacies has come to the fore. That those who were even opposing state police, for example, are now some of those now
advocating
on their own advocating for, which is very good. Right. So I see a situation where under the Bola Tinubu presidency, one of the good things that may happen, well, apart from these welfarist policies, which we will always support across party lines, I'll be at the fore. We worked on the student loan board. Any other agenda that comes that amounts to an investment in the human condition, which is what a lot of leaders don't do. It's good to build the roads and the bridges, yes. But while doing that, we must invest in education. We must invest in the livelihoods, health care, and the SME development, and so on. One of the great things that the APC government, great idea, but badly implemented, is this trader money thing. This is an idea of let's stand by the less privileged, the vulnerable majority.
You're talking about the social investment
policies. Yes, all of that I support. And I think they will continue with the way we have seen the trajectory of the government. But the National Assembly, and I'm also a member of the Constitutional Review Committee, we have not been far-reaching enough. It's always been piecemeal because of the difficulty of building consensus over the years about devolution. But in the last assembly, 9th assembly, I think we achieved some of it. Railways, airports, for example, electricity.
Right.
You know, things like prisons.
They can go now to the
Yes,
states.
they can now go to the concurrent list. Concurrent list. Because what we are calling restructuring, which people claim they don't understand, they know what we mean. What we are saying is address the constitutional foundation of the country. Let's go back to the earlier constitutions. We are not saying it should be regional government. And why not? Why shouldn't we be thinking of a role for the regions? Because clearly, over the years, particularly from 1999, we are now used to having the idea of 6 geopolitical zones that are close enough, that are fairly big, that can be supported. So I think we should have a robust national dialogue. It will be nice if the president convokes it. But it's more than mounting a convocation of another jamboree. No. It's about selecting a team and consulting so that any area that we have consensus, broad national consensus, state police, for example, or even the judiciary. This is the only country where every matter, land dispute among 2 peasant farmers, or you push me, I push you case in the streets, it will go all the way to the Supreme Court of Nigeria. It wasn't so. Every region had their own Supreme Court. Every region had their constitution. And India, a number of these templates are still there. It is working. So we elevate the Supreme Court of Nigeria only to cases that have far-reaching fundamental
constitutional issues.
Rights of people, fundamental rights of people, the life appeals about life and death, and things like that. Constitutional interpretations, and things like that are very serious. Or disputes among states. You know, things like that. So there's a lot that can be done. I don't know if the president will be persuaded to do that. But we in the National Assembly will try to take the other dimensions, most of the other items that we've not been able to cover. But I would like to see a very comprehensive review. I don't think we can build that consensus just yet. that will also look at, for example, do we even need local governments? Should the federal parliament, should we in our constitution even be having local governments?
And I was coming to that because, as you have been governor for 2 terms, why is it so difficult for governors to take the development of local government very seriously? Why have they, for the most part, been an obstruction to autonomy and, quite frankly, the development of local governments?
Well, I think if you look at the framework of our constitution, yes, we've heard that about governors doing that, governors doing this. The biggest emperor that the Nigerian constitution has created is the president.
I agree.
Yes. But that's the biggest emperor. But there are also 36. And now, if you like, even 37.
Yeah.
A minister of FCT.
With your friend.
A minister of the FCT. So there are 37 emperors. Because of the insufficient mechanisms for accountability built into the constitution, which is what we must address. Yeah, which is what we must address. Accountability in terms of the use of power. And a nation that has not invested heavily in education, you'll be dreaming too high if you hope to get top quality leadership, which is why we must invest in education. That child that you are seeing in the classroom before you, that girl that is there being maltreated, may end up being a first lady, may end up being a commissioner, may end up being in a position tomorrow to influence policy, to lead people. So is it with governors or even other leaders across the world. The inability or the insufficient investment over the years naturally has affected the quality and caliber
of people,
of leadership at the time. From our founding fathers, they didn't even go to universities and so on. But the family's values were stronger, the social values, the cultural values, okay? And even the little education they had was quality.
Yeah.
So you had better human beings. We must focus on producing solid, good human beings. Human beings. A man or woman should be a good human being first before it can be anything else.
Interesting.
So, and then when you family breakdown, cultural, societal breakdowns, even the social, the governmental institutions that should filter over time, the police. If some guy is a thief, should have been identified. If some guy is a cultist, it should have been identified and dealt with. And the judicial system, over the years, that's what happens in all countries. And then the political parties, for those who want to, the grooming processes. I've told you how I have come.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe not a laboratory, but we've been around in our own little way, learning, listening to people, seeing how they do things, seeing how they take decisions, their views about the country, and being inspired, not by money,
but by ideals.
But by ideals.
And values.
So that is what is missing.
Okay.
That is what is missing. It's not so much the governors are there, but you see, the local government systems are there. Take, for example, for 8 years as governor, I never tampered with 1 naira of local government funds.
So tell us.
I was rather giving them a percentage of IGL to support them. But I know that I'm told that there are states where governors, literally commandeer all their location and share it, and even give them pieces of paper to sign. No governor, no local government chairman under me for 8 years will tell you so.
Interesting.
Never ever. And I warned them, don't even come near anybody around me. My mandate is to supervise all. Go and do your work. And they're accountable to your people. But let me end. I now introduce the transparency law. You see, people don't, because we don't shout. People like us, all the work we've done because we don't shout. You know, and Nigerians like noise. Okay?
Well,
we had a transparency law, one of the first laws I instituted, by which, as governor, I gave myself legal obligation to announce what was coming to the state every month and how it was spent every month. That same law directed the chairman to do the same.
In their local government.
In their local governments. And I said, the punishment for not doing that consecutively is that should amount to misconduct, gross misconduct. And you know the consequences of that.
Right.
So I had to do it for 8 years.
Exactly. How did you manage security votes, for instance?
The security vote mechanism allows a governor to deal with issues that are extra budgetary. It's also budgeted, but then it gives you a more hands-on control to deal with emergencies. Take, for example, now, military people have been killed in a very gruesome, condemnable manner.
In Ikoma, Delta.
Yes. There are decisions that must be taken. There are security people that must be supported to be on ground. There are intelligence operatives that must be supported to be on ground. And it may not be advisable to put some of those things down through the mill. Because if a governor signs an approval, it goes through over 20, 30 tables. Even in the treasury itself. I'm not talking about the originating ministry. So I think that is what it was designed to.
Oil theft.
Yes.
You are a governor in the place, you are still a senator. Why has that been such a big problem for us as a people, you know, to allow the level of oil theft, you know, that has clearly damaged our foreign earnings? What's the problem? I mean, it happens in Niger Delta mostly. What's your take on that,
well, you see, the problem we have is that Nigeria, that's why I keep talking about values, national goals and aspirations we don't have. And because of that, people see the Nigerian state as a means to self-aggrandizement and self-enrichment. You know, a means to achieve ends other than advancement of the national agenda. And it happens in all ways. This oil theft thing is just one classic example. Why should a country like Nigeria that has been producing oil, exporting oil for the past, how many years? Almost 70 years. You don't have a scientific way of metering, recording what leaves, what is pumped, what is sold, what is not sold. And it's deliberate. So, it's not a Niger Delta thing. It's just happening there. It happens there. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Because part of it is that it has destroyed communities. Because there's too much illegal money, illegal arms, illicit drugs, and it has fueled cultism. Because people want to get the loyalties of young, able people to be able to hold territories. Okay? Territories. Where oil facilities are, they take control of it, and they need weapons. They need young men that will be always high, that can be... You think a man who slaughters, cuts off a man's head and disembowels is normal?
Absolutely.
So those are people who are actively on drug resisting. So what has happened is that people from Abuja and Lagos, they are the masterminds. And the official system is not ignorant, and they are not innocent. Because you can't do that.
What do you mean by the official system? You mean what do you mean by that?
The official security system, the official oil system, the official federal system, all of it in its totality. So it's a criminal, underworld, powerful thing that now come. That is only taking place. What you see, those young boys are just they are pawns in a bigger chess game.
How do we get out of it?
And then the oil majors and the oil people who are buying oil, crude oil.
Everybody's involved.
They know the stolen oil. They know the oil that is taken to China, to India, to Europe, to America for refining and for whatever purpose. They know which one has come legally and which one has not. But just as the world, formed a consensus against stolen blood diamonds. They have not been able to do that in the case of, do we say, stolen or blood oil. and the federal system benefits, the oil companies benefit. A vessel that should load 1 million can load 5 million. And this happens on a daily basis. So you can see the enormity of the money involved in it and the capacity it has to compromise all levels of our society. Communities not excluded. The young people not excluded. So that's what is going on. So those young people and communities, again, are victims of the failures of the Nigerian state. Because it is the duty and responsibility of the Nigerian state, which has now expropriated the oil resources to itself.
Yeah.
Okay? You say that what is under me is yours. I don't have any control. Okay, no problem. Manage it well. Secure it well. They can't.
Interesting.
So that's what has happened.
Interesting.
Yes.
So
once we have sincere leadership, committed leadership,
and I
not
guess,
just at the president, down the line, security in the NMPC or DPR or whatever, whatever.
But if there's one person that has the responsibility to straighten it out, is the president.
Well, every buck stops. But we have seen presidents and we have seen presidents.
What are your expectations about the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu? You did say at the beginning that it's a change, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. What do you mean by that?
No. What I mean is the fiery advocates of federalism.
Yes.
And he's done a lot to his credit as governor of Lagos State.
Yeah.
Okay? He extended the boundaries of federalism and protected the rights of subnationals. Okay?
Right.
Whether you're talking of inland waterways control, whether you are talking of taxation. Okay? Of course, they don't feel.
Hello, my wonderful people. As we have finished watching this interesting video, please, I want to see your comment, your contribution, your opinion in the comment section.
It's Rizmani on the beat.
Let us do it constructively.
And you're welcome to Linda's
Tell me
TV
what
show.
you think about this video.
The home of news and analysis.
And also,
where you get your information about the happenings in the globe, especially in Nigeria.
Please remember to subscribe. Put on your